When you hear about tourism in Rwanda, you automatically think of the gorillas. But guess what? That's all about to change. After about 2 to 3 years of planning and negotiation with different parties, it has finally happened. Lions have been reintroduced to Rwanda. Now, the entire process, which took 36 hours, saw the pack airlifted from South Africa to Kigali and then transported to the Akagera National Park. In this week's episode, we take you through most of the process as we seek to understand Rwanda's tourism efforts and strategies moving forward. My name is George Ndirango. Welcome to Doing Business in Rwanda. African Parks, in partnership with the Rwanda Development Board, translocated 5 female lions from Finda Private Game Reserve and 2 males from Tembe Elephant Reserve in South Africa to reintroduce the species into Akagera National Park in Rwanda. Speaking to media, Simon Naylor, the conservation manager at Finda Game Reserve in South Africa, gave the genesis of the entire procedure.
Well, I was approached by Africa Parks if we had any lions available to donate to Akagera National Park in Rwanda, and fortunately at the time I had 5 lionesses which I thought were suitable for reintroduction, and so gave a positive response. I was actually very excited that we could donate lions to Rwanda and obviously Akagera National Park. The lions here at Pinda are very suitable for reintroductions into new sort of national parks, and especially for tourists where there are tourists wanting to view them. We have a lot of visitors and tourists here at Pinda, and obviously our lions are very tourist friendly. You know, they are very habituated to vehicles. They don't run away from vehicles. So the 5 lionesses that are coming from Pinda to Akagera are very beautiful lions. They're very relaxed to vehicles, and I think they'll do very well there.
The entire journey that took approximately 36 hours was accompanied and continually monitored by a veterinary team with experience in translocations.
Obviously, we scanned each one for microchips to make sure who's who. In other words, specifically identify each one. They then get their second booster rabies jab. They then had a shot of long-acting antibiotics. We dewormed them for internal parasites, and we sprayed them for external ticks, fleas, lice, anything on the outside. We sprayed them when they came in, so there were very little on the actual animals when they were down. They've been fighting a little bit, so there's a few scratches and claw marks, so the antibiotic will take care of that. But very little actually in the way of injuries as such. When we brought them through here, we topped them up a little bit, because picking them up and moving them after about 45 minutes is what we were getting to, they can start to wake up. So, and putting them in a box awake is not a lot of fun. And then they've all had a long-acting tranquilizer. It lasts about 3 days. It will wear off after 3 days, and it keeps them pretty calm whilst they're traveling. We'd like to have put bedding in, but bedding is an issue for a number of reasons. And most importantly, it transmits various agricultural diseases and things, so we decided that it's not a good idea. These lions, some of them, one of them in particular, I've operated on in the past. And so, of course, I've got a very vested interest in what happens to our lions here. So hopefully they're happy in Rwanda. I'm pretty sure they will be.
It's quite rare to move lions this distance to natural areas, but there are no other lions in this area to restock the park. So we've had to bring them from South Africa. This is unique. It's probably, I would say, the furthest lion translocation to a natural area that's probably ever happened, I would say. They've designed for moving lions on aeroplanes. So normally we would have some crates are slightly different, but by law, certainly in international law, we have to use boxes, and we've manufactured these crates exactly to specifications, as laid down by IATA. And they wouldn't eat either, because they're obviously under a bit of stress. So we have got a means to give them some water, but they'll be fine. Bear in mind that lions in the wild sometimes only eat every 3 or 4, sometimes even 5 days. So water is more of a critical thing than food. But even this is not that long. You know, we've moved them longer distances asleep in South Africa. We're in a totally natural system where they could hunt, look after themselves out of big areas. So they were captured, quarantined, and the same will happen at Akagera. They're going into an area where they will fend for themselves. There's enough of a prey base for them to look after themselves and eat and essentially lead a good natural life. It's just an acclimatization process, and just to get used to the food and just relax in their new environment. And then also just for us to check that their collars, they've got satellite collars on each line so that we can track them and know what they're doing and how they're doing.
Translocation and relocation is a tedious process. We were talking to other governments and other locations in the past. It did not materialize, but it gave us more time to prepare for the reintroduction of lions into Akagera National Park, which is the most exciting thing as we speak on conservation achievements. We are delighted that this day has come. We are delighted that we are going to experience lions for the domestic market and for those coming to look at savanna parks in general and give greater variety. So it didn't happen last year, it didn't happen the year before, but it's happening today, and I think that should be the focus.
The operation, dubbed Intare Zagarutse, translated to "The Lions Are Back" in the native Kinyarwanda language, is indeed a groundbreaking conservation effort for Rwanda's national parks, the country, and key individual players as well.
It's another great inroad. We've had many inroads before, looking at protecting our gorilla population, for example, and the growth we've seen in the gorilla population since the last census. This one gives us great pride because it's a reintroduction. So it is a species that used to be there in the park. It will help us also with recreating the natural balance that's needed for sustainability in Akagera National Park.
We have donated a significant amount of money, somewhere close to $50,000, plus have arranged some campaigns in order to get the message out to everybody in Rwanda and hopefully in the world that the lions are back in Akagera. We've been part of Rwanda since 1974, so we're very, very much part of everything that goes on in Rwanda. And to be able to bring lions back to Akagera to help drive local tourism and international tourism is fantastic. We're so pleased to have that opportunity. But we'll continue, obviously, to support what's going on with the lions, of course, and with the campaign for Turbo King. We never like to say quite what we're going to do next. We like to keep you all a little bit in suspense and surprised. But I think you'll find that the lions and maybe some happy family lions will also be part of future campaigns, both for Turbo King, but also for the Heineken Bralewa operations here in Rwanda.
In a nutshell, the budget for this whole operation has cost over $300,000. Okay, we've had key contributors, of which one of them is Turbo King. Okay, but let's not only think of the financial will, the goodwill of the government taking time, the goodwill from African parks working in South Africa, the goodwill from the two parks, Pinda and Tembe in South Africa, who donated those animals. It could have cost even more, but they donated those animals.
We arrived at the national park late afternoon. It had earlier rained, so the vehicles ferrying both the lions and the personnel had quite a rough time navigating through the muddy terrain. On arrival, however, the lions were lifted and placed in a specially constructed 1,000 square meter boma in the north of the park. Split into two separate enclosures, the perimeter features a 3-meter high chain-linked electrified fence.
Thank you so much.
During the night, the lions were released from their specially designed travel cages into this boma behind me. Now we can't really see the pack because they're currently in hiding, but over the next 2 to 3 weeks, this is where they will be continually examined and acclimatized before being released to their natural open habitat. Without a doubt, a great moment in history for Rwanda.
That fence is electrified. It's reducing the impact of buffalo, elephants, crop raiding, etc. Also, it will be a barrier for the lions to go out but also a barrier for previously when cattle came in the park. And that was where the problem with lions was specifically. Lions were killing cattle, the cattle were being poisoned, and then the lions were poisoned. Secondly, law enforcement within the park is upgraded, is very good. It's a very professional team, motivated team, reducing the impact of poaching, which could have had an impact on lions. Okay, so that is at a minimal scale, meaning we can bring back the lions. Thirdly, if we were to say we were bringing back lions 6 years ago, 5 years ago, there was not enough food for the lions. Like Mr. Maswazera said, ungulates, no zebras, buffaloes. They were here, but in low numbers. You can't bring an animal if you don't feed it. Okay, so as of last year, we were sure that there was enough animals here. We do every year, we do a count of how many animals. This park has over 2,500 buffalo, over 1,000 zebra, 1,000 topi, 1,000 waterbuck, 2,500 impala. So that means there's enough food now for the lions to breed. Okay, so security measure has been addressed through the fence. The security measure inside with law enforcement has been addressed. It's safe habitat for the lions now. The food, the living, the future of the lions is secure through the law enforcement and the amount of food they have. The males can mate the females, okay? Lions breed very well in a secure environment which we've provided here at Akagera. Okay? When they have that, they actually multiply quite quickly. They can have from 3 to 5 young, and the gestation period is very short. After 2 years, they can also breed again. So that will multiply as we basically ensure the security for them. There's 5 females. I would almost safely say within a year, we will have some cubs in Akagera to be the next generation who are actually born within Rwanda.
The return of the lions, which has been termed as restoring the natural balance of the ecosystem, aims to cement Rwanda's status as a conservation-focused, all-in-one safari destination.
It's an animal that people travel miles and miles to be able to see and experience. So it's a great day for our conservation, it's a great day for our tourism, and a great day for the country that has continuously encouraged and led the way in terms of conservation and biodiversity, wildlife protection. We feel that this is yet another milestone that confirms what we are here for.
That's all from this week's episode. Understanding what the reintroduction of lions means to the tourism sector in Rwanda and the strategies moving forward. To give us feedback or insight, email us at dbir@abn360.com or tweet us at dbirwanda. On behalf of the entire Doing Business in Rwanda team, my name is George Ndirango. Keep it CNBC Africa, first in business worldwide.